in Jainism, it's not specifically carbon footprint, but what we try to do is we try to live our lives without destroying other lives.
In their home, they tell that we don't have, but outside the home, they have everything. I think so. Okay, tell me, what did you want to be when you were a kid? And now you are
Mm.
that which you wanted to be or not?
Good evening. How are you?
I'm good. You tell. What about
I'm
you?
fine. I'm fine. Thank you for asking. Welcome back.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Things are going well. I hope things are looking good for you as well.
Yes, yes.
Awesome. So, what would you like to talk about today?
So, we will discuss normal questions, not about English only. We will talk about life, thoughts, spirituality, and many more, if you allow.
Definitely. I'm
Mhm.
always open to interesting topics.
Okay. So, tell me, are you a spiritual person? If yes, then how do you show love toward God?
I don't consider myself a spiritual person. Actually, the
Okay.
reason is because when I was younger, I was forced to do a lot of, going to the temple, praying, and whatnot. So after I turned 18, I'm a person who asks a lot of questions. Like I'm curious in general.
Mm-hmm.
So I would always ask, why am I doing certain things? Why
Yes.
am I following certain dates according to our religion, right? So when these things came up, I used to ask my parents, I used to ask my grandparents why these things happen, why we need to do certain things, what happens if I don't follow certain
Mm-hmm.
rules that are defined by our religion. And I would say I would not get the response that would satisfy my curiosity. So I never had that organic interest to follow these things, I would say, right? So
So,
as I
what do
got
you think
older,
about spirituality? Do you think like doing worship, like worshiping whole the day, morning and night, and going to the temple, is it called spirituality?
Um, I mean, worship is when you are in a temple praying to an
Mm-hmm.
idol or a god, right? Or some sort of figure. Like, different religions have different ways to do it. They don't always um, worship an idol or a piece of the god. Like, I mean, how do I say this? The idol itself, like the physical thing. A lot of people consider spirituality just saying that, okay, I am at home, but I am going to pray to God. They don't have to worship a physical item, I would say, right? So spirituality for me is the belief in a system and the trust that you put in that system that I am going to invest these things into my religion or into my spirituality. And in return, I want peace, I want happiness, I want whatever they receive from that spirituality. They believe in that. And worship is, I think, the act of you know, bowing in front of a god, an idol, going to a city because the temple over there is highly regarded in their religion, right? So in Jainism, there is something called Tirth Yatra. So Tirth Yatra, I don't know if you know what that means, but I'll just explain it anyway. Tirth Yatra is basically a pilgrimage place, like where people go, they do certain sets of things, like they climb a mountain to worship that particular temple, that particular god, and they travel to cities on particular dates in the year because that is the most spiritual time, or that is the time where it is the most beneficial in terms of um, worshipping. Again, I don't know many words in terms of the religion of, you know, how to use it, I would say. But for me, that is the difference between worship and spirituality.
Spirituality. I also do not believe in going to temple like Kedarnath, Badrinath. It's very difficult to go there. So I also do not believe in it. I believe in spirituality, but in a different way. There is no need to do worship all the time and like going to the temple. Like there is no need to do these type of things. There are many things by which we can show our love toward God, and so I do. So tell me one thing, do you believe in God or not? Like worshipping God is another thing. Believing in it is also another thing. So do you believe in it?
I don't.
No?
No.
Okay. You are a Jain, right?
Yeah.
So, like, I would love to know about your culture because I have heard so many times that it's very difficult to be Jain. We can't have meal after 6 p.m. Do you also follow?
Um, I wouldn't say it's difficult because the
Okay.
thing is, um, for Jain families, these rules are set quite early on in your life, so it becomes part of your life, right? So I think there are certain difficulties that Jain people face. One of the major issues is nutrition. Is also the fact that when you are traveling, not just in India but abroad, getting food that you are allowed to have is a little difficult. So the main dietary restriction in Jain religion is you cannot eat anything that is grown underground.
Okay.
Okay. So the logic is that in Jainism, everything is about, carbon footprint?
Carbon?
Carbon footprint. Do you know what that means?
Carbon footprint. I'm getting it, but exactly that you are talking about that, like carbon, and when we write something and it prints on another
No,
paper.
it's not literally that.
Okay.
Basically, carbon footprint is, I'll give you an example. Um, if you are taking a flight from here to Delhi, right?
Okay.
Uh, okay, maybe not Delhi, but like from here to the
Anywhere.
US. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. So generally the thing pops up on your ticket that your carbon footprint is this, right? What they do is they take the total amount of fuel or whatever resources are needed to take that flight, and then they divide it by the number of people that are in the flight. Okay. And then you get a certain number, and that is the price you pay environmentally to take that trip.
Okay.
Okay. So that's why a lot of people nowadays they say that celebrities have a very high carbon footprint because if Taylor Swift has to perform in the US and then she has to go to Paris on the next day to perform a concert, she will take a private jet. So the
Yes.
cost of that private jet, she doesn't care because she has enough money. But the carbon footprint, because she's using so much fuel just for her to take that flight, fly all the way to Paris, it's a very high carbon footprint. So that's what they try to say. So in Jainism, it's not specifically carbon footprint, but what we try to do is we try to live our lives without destroying other lives. Okay.
Wow, that's
So
amazing.
we define life as anything, including plants, animals,
Okay.
germs, even
Mm-hmm.
small microorganisms are considered lives, individual lives.
Okay.
So what happens is when a food item is grown, like a vegetable is grown underground, that particular vegetable has a lot more germs than something that is grown above the ground. So I'll give you an example.
Okay.
That is why we are not allowed to have carrots, garlic,
Mhm.
onion,
Potatoes, sweet
potatoes,
potatoes.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. So all of these items are forbidden in our religion because it is considered that if I have a tomato and I have a potato, I'm going to sin a lot more and I'm going to kill more organisms if I have the potato itself.
Okay.
Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
there's 100 items. I'm not going to mention all of them. There are a lot
Mm-hmm.
of things that we're not allowed. We're not
Yes.
allowed ginger. We're not allowed carrots, radish, all of
So
those
don't you
things.
eat? Don't you eat?
I don't believe in it. So there are different
Okay, so
levels
you
of
can have anything.
yeah, there are different levels of people in Jainism also. It's not like a straight rule. Some
Mm-hmm.
people follow complete Jain culture.
Yeah.
Like my in-laws
In
are
my
like that. My
husband's
wife is
school,
like
one
that.
teacher is there. He
Yeah.
follows everything. If there is a party, if there is any function, he never wants to have anything there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so at that time, first time I got to know that there is something like that. Before that, I was not aware about all these things.
Yeah, so
That's
I
good.
have non-gen items like I have potato chips, I'll have garlic bread, I'll have all of those things. But I think I don't cross that line because I would not go into non-veg and all that, right? But
Mhm.
when it comes to my wife and my in-laws, they are incredibly religious. So they don't
Wow.
have honey because it's an animal byproduct.
Oh
They
my
don't
God.
have, yeah, they don't have ginger. They don't have, potatoes, onions, the basic
Mm-hmm.
items. So they are very religious in that
It
sense.
would be
And
very difficult or not?
I mean, because it has been there for so long, this religion, the
Mm-hmm.
community itself creates substitutes. So this is why we have banana chips, right? So
What
instead
is
of
the
potato
substitute
chips,
of honey?
just normal sugar. Like we don't,
Okay.
yeah, we don't have any organic substitute for that. But
Mm-hmm.
um, it's either that or maybe they'll use some fruit or vegetable that has natural sugar. So that way we are not harming other animals to get that product, I would say,
That's very
right?
good about this
Yeah.
Zen
So it's
Zenism.
very
Zenism?
close. It's very close to vegan
Yes.
diets, but in vegan diets like onion, potatoes, garlic, all of that is allowed. So we don't have that. So if anything, we have more restrictions than vegan
Mm-hmm.
diets as well. And in terms of mentioning, you mentioned that we can't eat after six o'clock. Although
Yes.
the time period keeps changing because of the seasons and when the sun goes down,
Okay,
the
okay,
logic
okay.
is the logic is that we cannot eat after the sun has set.
Okay, that is the logic.
Yeah, the
Hmm.
logic is
Now
that
I
it
got
doesn't
it.
matter what the time is because it's possible that let's say you're in somewhere north, like somewhere in Norway or Finland or something.
Yeah, it can be case.
There the sun sets around 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So the logic is you don't eat after that.
Oh my God. If
Yeah.
you feel hungry at night, then
I mean, you just feel hungry then, I guess.
okay, there is no
Because
option. You can't have anything.
no, I mean, there's
Like
no
as
loophole in that
milk also
system.
you can't have
Sorry?
milk at night.
No, no, nothing. Nothing
No.
except water. And even with
Oh my
water,
God.
for
But
very
it's
strict.
it's very good for health, isn't it?
Yeah, scientifically, it's
Hmm.
been proven that you should finish your
Yes.
dinner as soon as possible so that you have enough time to digest and then you can have a peaceful, night's sleep.
Hmm.
So after the sun, like a lot of people in Jainism, they'll have their breakfast, lunch at normal times, and then they'll finish their dinner by 5:30, 6:30 sometimes, depending on when the sun sets. In the summers, the sun is setting a little bit later. In the winters, the sun sets a little bit quicker. So we have a book, it's called a Panchang. Okay,
Okay.
and
Panchang.
that book is distributed every year amongst Jain people through the temple. You can buy it from the temple itself, right?
Hmm.
And in that, every date for the next 1 year is written. So what time the sun sets in that one particular month or week,
Okay, okay,
that is
okay.
mentioned. Which are the days where we're not supposed to do anything. Like there are, how do I say this? You know how there are public holidays, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in the same way, we also have holidays or dates that are aligned with the moon. So you know
Okay.
how we say Amavas and everything,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. I got it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So we have these tithis called Ekam, Chaudas.
Yeah,
Uh,
we also follow these things. Hmm.
Yeah, so we have these days where even my wife, she's like, I'm not going to eat at night. Generally, she eats like she eats with us, although she's completely Jain. But when it comes to these days, she'll say that, okay, we cannot go for a movie in that day because I don't
Okay.
want to eat at night. I don't want to sort of go out and
Hmm.
do all these extra things that can be avoided. We'll do it on a normal day when one of these tithis is not available.
Okay. So are you pure vegetarian as like me or not?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Because there are many people they eat egg and they call
Mhm.
themselves they are pure vegetarian.
Scientifically, I can argue that egg is vegetarian, but because I've not
How?
had it since I was a child, because I've not had it because I was a child, it feels a little bit disgusting to like
Okay.
I don't mean to say disgusting. It is food for a lot of people. I don't mean to
Okay.
say it like that, but my point is
Yes.
it feels awkward to try that new thing that seems in the gray area, I would say, right?
Hmm.
So scientifically speaking, that was your question. I don't feel egg is non-vegetarian because it doesn't have a life. Okay. So a lot of
Don't
people,
have a life.
yeah, a lot of people make this mistake
There is a
that
process. There is a process of life.
yeah. So
Yeah.
there's a difference between a fertilized egg and an unfertilized egg, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what we eat as humans is unfertilized eggs.
Unfertilized, but it's also I consider it a non-vegetarian.
Definitely, I'm not arguing that point. I'm just
Mhm.
saying that if I was to take a fertilized egg and a non-fertilized egg, and I was supposed to keep it somewhere for a month, only the fertilized egg will produce the new
Produce
chicken.
a life.
Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. And then a non-fertilized egg, it'll get bad, no doubt. But it is not, because it is not fertilized, there's no child, there's no baby coming out of it, right? So
Hmm.
if you were to eat a fertilized egg, I would consider that as non-vegetarian, 100%,
Yes.
right?
Okay.
But even in the scientific community, this conversation is going on that does egg constitute as non-vegetarian? That's why, just to avoid any confusion, they've made this whole eggetarian, right?
Yes.
Even when on food
Simple.
packets, yeah, on food packets, there's a green dot for vegetarian, there's a red dot
Yes.
for non-vegetarian, and there is a red triangle for eggetarian, if I'm not wrong,
Vegetarian.
right?
Mhm.
So any
Do you
products
have
that
these type of food or not?
no, no, I mean,
Red.
I don't, I like the area that I live in, we have a lot of Jain people. So in our immediate area, there are no non-vegetarian restaurants. I
Okay.
think, I'm not sure if it's a law or maybe just people avoid it, but none of the
Okay.
restaurants around us serve non-veg
That's
food.
good.
Yeah.
These type of
Plus,
communities must be there in society. Then we can follow anything, peacefully
yeah,
without
that's why I
any
think a lot of
disturbance.
people are generally attracted towards certain areas or cities when they're buying
Yes.
houses. Like Surat is one of them. Surat has the
Okay.
highest number of Gujaratis, I would say, right?
Yes.
Because the whole community, I mean, I'm talking about a state, I'm generalizing it. I'm sure I'm not
Mhm.
accurate about that. But in Surat, there are certain areas where everything is vegetarian, everything is Jain that is available. Even when you go to a roadside stall, they'll give you like jalebi fafda, they'll give you like khaman, dokla, all these things that are considered Jain, right? Because they
Okay.
know the audience that they are serving to. They know that their business will thrive if they appeal
Mm-hmm.
to certain groups. And in their
Hmm.
uh, area, if there are more Gujaratis, then they'll serve more vegetarian or Jain items. Like milkshakes are completely fine. Sandwiches, we have Jain sandwiches where you just take bread, cucumber, tomato. Beetroot is also not allowed in Jain, by the way.
Okay.
So
Yes.
they'll
Of
have
course.
different substitutes for it. But yeah, there are, because this Jain diet has been around for so long, they've created so many substitutes, they've created so many ways in which they can make meals taste just as good or even better sometimes than non-Jain
Hmm.
food items. Right?
But it's really nowadays, like today's generation, I think so. They are following it or not. Like, I don't believe that they are following it truly, right?
Are you
It's
talking
quite
about their own
difficult to follow.
communities or
Like
follow what?
nowadays, French fries, in every
Yeah.
party and every function, they eat French fries. So in their home, they tell that we don't have, but outside the home, they have everything. I think so. Like so
Yeah,
many
this
of them.
is This
So
is what I
many.
was saying. Like a lot of people have their own beliefs and their own beliefs in how they want to follow. I have a lot of friends who are completely Jain at home, but when they go out, they'll have the
They have
occasional
everything.
pizza with a little bit of garlic sauce in it,
Yes.
and they'll have fries. But like I said, it's very easy to substitute certain things. Like fries can be made with banana as well. So uh,
Yes.
I think banana kacha kela we call it, obviously.
I know.
But that is a very good substitute for potato itself because most items that are made with potato can be made with banana as well. So I recently went to a hill station on this weekend, and my in-laws family, they're mostly Jain, all of them, right? So
Mm-hmm.
on the highway now, the vada pav stalls also provide Jain vada pavs. So basically,
Okay.
they take an aloo vada,
Okay.
they put it in pav and masala and everything, and then they give it to you. But for the Jain version, they just do the same thing with banana filling.
Banana stuff.
Yeah, stuffing, exactly. Yeah.
Mm.
So it is becoming more and more mainstream, at least in
That's good.
Mumbai. I don't know about the world, but at least in
That's good.
Mumbai,
That's
that's an
good.
option.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me, what did you want to be when you were a kid? And now you are
Mm.
that which you wanted to be or not?
No, absolutely. This is the complete opposite of what I thought I would be because in school, I was such a mischievous child. I was so uh, I didn't care about studying. I didn't care about learning new things. I
Okay.
thought it is incredibly boring. But there was one change. The reason I've become so curious and so uh, I pursue knowledge and knowing new things because of one thing. In my eighth grade, I was in an ICSE board. Okay.
Okay.
You're not from Mumbai, so I don't expect you to understand it, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So I was in ICSE board. Uh, and then I knew that in ninth and 10th, I'll have to take a lot of tuitions and prepare for my boards, and it'll take up 2 years of my life. And I told my parents that I don't want to do that. I don't want to be buried in my books and just coming home, like going to school, coming home, going to tuitions, coming home, eating, sleeping. I don't
Okay.
want to do that for the next 2 years, you know? So they did some research, and at that time, in Mumbai, there was a new school from the IB board, International
Okay.
Baccalaureate. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, IB is affiliated to Cambridge, and it is basically a board. And as soon as I joined that school, I was able to understand that learning can be fun. Learning can be
Yes, of
more
course.
visual. It can be more practical knowledge. It can be more, you know how people talk about work-life balance. I
What?
got work-life balance.
Okay.
So I got a lot more school life balance because in that IB school, the rules were very strict and they said that whatever you need to do it in the school,
Wow.
right? To a
Mm-hmm.
level
What was your
where
stream? What was your stream?
so we don't have streams in till 10th standard, which is
Okay, okay, you are talking about 10th. Hmm.
yeah, till the 10th grade, I would say. So in my IB school, I realized that there are certain things that I love, the certain things that can be interesting to learn. So I started learning French in that school. I
Okay.
focused a lot more on literature. I focused a lot more on, I was not in science. I was in commerce, obviously. I had like if you're taking science, you have to skip a certain number of subjects. So I had skipped English literature, and then
Okay.
I took geography instead as a subject, right?
Oh, wow.
The picking is a little different in IB schools. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really happy with that. But as I got into the IB school, I realized I want to learn English. I want to communicate with my friends much
Mm-hmm.
better because I was only speaking in Hindi at that time, right? That is where my curiosity was like, I
Came
would say,
out.
woken up.
Okay, woken up.
So at that time, I realized that, yeah, I want to learn more. I want to get better at this. And for some reason, it just stayed like till date. I think I'm 32 now. So till date, I'm always curious about new things. I'm always researching. Even last night before I was sleeping, I was
Mm-hmm.
meditating for like 5 minutes. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, what if I want to start this business, what is something that I can do? So I ended up Googling at like 5 o'clock in the morning. I was Googling how to start this business. What are 10 things I should know before I start this business, you know? And I like that I'm curious. I like that I want to learn new things. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that is the only difference between my
Yeah.
schools that I figured
Mm.
out.
So what did you want to be
Oh yeah, sorry, we
exactly?
never answered that question. Yeah, uh, the whole point of that was that because I hated school so much, I hated learning so
Mm-hmm.
much. I never thought I would end up helping people learn something in the future.
Yeah.
Right? So it's the complete opposite of what I wanted to be. When I was younger, I was a little naive. I was a little innocent. So I wanted to be a professional footballer because I was watching these games. I was watching these uh, games in London happening, and I'm like, wow, it
Oh,
must be such an experience to play in that stadium in front of 20,000 people, 50,
okay.
60,000 people, making tens of lakhs of rupees every day, Because like if you look at salary figures in the footballing world, Ronaldo makes 23 lakh rupees every day.
Hmm. Were
Like
you a sport boy in your school?
I would loved sports. I played every sport that the school offered. Like
Hmm.
I competed in table tennis tournaments, skating tournaments, swimming tournaments. When it came to athletics,
I
I
was a
played
leader
my
in
part.
my school of athletics.
Oh wow, were you like the sports girl? They call it sports
Yeah, I
girls.
used to be a sport girl and I was a leader of in 12th. I was not allowed to play in 12th. In my school, that was a rule. So I didn't play in 12th, but I was very good at sport. I wanted to be something in that field only, but I did not have any clue what to do, how to do. When I got admission in somewhere, then I got to know many things and I could have done that, I could have done that. Then there was no use of that.
Okay, what sports do you play?
I used to be athletic
Like running.
running. Yes.
Okay.
Like I was the only one who used to go. out from the school, like in another school, in any competition, my teacher always used to take me out with himself. Only me.
So would you represent the school or would you represent on a higher level?
School, only school. I used to represent my
Okay.
school only, Sarvodaya Kanya Vidyalaya, and I got many medals and trophies also, which are kept in my principal's room only.
Okay. Were you ever able to take those trophies and medals home?
Medals I have, trophies are in principal room.
Okay. I never understood that logic. Why would they keep your trophies with themselves?
Because we were representing the school only, that's why.
Okay.
Mhm.
I guess
After that, I think after completing 12th, we can have that trophy and all the things.
you
If
can
we
take it
are
back home.
playing, if we are playing any game with the help of any academic, so I think that academy will take that trophy. I think so.
As recognition. They want to show you off, basically.
Yes, I think so. So I
Okay,
used to
that's
do
that's
it.
sweet.
Hmm.
Awesome. What other questions do you have on your sheet?
Now I don't have any question because you gave long answer, so I forget.
So sorry about that.
No, it's okay. I was learning through your answer also.
That's
And that
great.
you were describing your Gen Z community. That was very amazing. I loved to listen you. That was very good and interesting too. Because if we are not Gen Z, not Gen Z, if we are not Gen, then we can also follow the same thing because it is good for our health. We can keep ourselves happy and healthy because on the name of like having potato and these like these things, we have lots of thing and we destroy our health totally and we have many diseases inside us, so it's better to have light meal and we can have timetable. After this time we are not going to have anything, so we must have these boundaries by which we can keep ourselves healthy and happy. So
Yeah,
it's good.
definitely.
What do you do
So,
to keep yourself happy? What makes you happy?
I'm an introvert at heart, so
Okay.
it's very easy for me to drain my social energy. I was just telling you that I was away for this weekend. I enjoy the company of my in-laws because they're a lot of
Oh.
fun. They come up with a lot of new games and jokes and
Mm-hmm.
stories, and it's always fun to, have that interaction.
Don't you have
But
joint family? Like
I, I,
in
I
your home?
do. So basically, I used to live with my grandparents and my chachu. Okay,
Okay.
but because I can't name the area, but because we live in this area, the houses are only 2 BHKs, right? So
Okay.
when my uncle, my chachu got married, it became a little difficult to have three families in the same house because of the
Yes.
2 BHK. So what
Hmm.
we generally do, this has happened for the last 20, 30 years, we just take another house in the same building.
In the same building. Yeah, it's quite good.
Okay.
Hmm.
So what we've done is we used to live on the 15th floor, and now, I mean, not now, it's been 10 years now, but as soon as my uncle got married, we bought another house on the fourth floor. And
Hmm.
my family has moved here. And now that I'm married, when my brother will get married, I'm assuming we'll buy another house in the same building so that I
Yeah.
can move to that house then.
Hmm. And
So
buying a land, proper land in Mumbai, it's quite difficult or expensive too, right?
it has definitely gotten more expensive over the last
Hmm.
decade or two. But in Mumbai, like a lot of my friends from Delhi say this, that in Mumbai, I don't see bungalows, I don't see plots, right?
Yes.
So I don't think Mumbai has that infrastructure or that logic because
Okay.
when you end up buying plots, you end up spending 20, 30, 50 crores just for the land
Yeah.
itself because
This is
it's
what
so
I'm
expensive,
saying.
right?
Yeah,
So
it's
it
too
is a lot
expensive.
cheaper. It is a lot cheaper for people to just buy apartments in like high-rise buildings.
That is
So
not
my
cheaper.
building,
They are also expensive.
definitely they are expensive.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you so much.